Good morning. Let us start with the session 6. So what is that we discussed in our previous class? Previous class we had topic we discussed today. In previous class we discussed about the directive principles. Today we'll discuss about the overall business law in India, how business law has been made, business regulation, then problems with the business law, what we have been facing. Now, over the business law in India, Indian Contract Act of 1872 is still in force. All the specific contracts such as partnership and sale of goods have been covered by newer laws. New acts, new laws have been came into force. The Partnership Act of 1932 covers partnership firms in India, how a partnership firm is to be there, what should be the partnership, what should be the partner's capital, what should be the drawings amount, and all these rules and regulations relating to partnership firms has been covered under the Partnership Act of 1932. Business law regulating chartered accountants and the cost accountants were passed in 1949 and 1959 respectively. So we have the chartered accountant laws. So that somebody has to take care of the accounts. Who's going to take care? It is the chartered accountants and the cost accountant will be taking care of this. So that act has been passed during 1949 and 1959. Banking Regulation Act 1949 continues to regulate the private banking companies and manage the banks in India. In 2012, it was amended with the Banking Regulation Amendment Act. In 2012, it has been amended. So the new laws, new amendments were included in Banking Regulation Act. The Competition Act of 2002 and the Limited Liability Act in 2008 has been implemented. Industrial Disputes Act 1946 still in force. The Consumer Protection Act of 1986 mandates consumer dispute redressal forums at local and national levels. Older laws such as the Standard Weights and Measurement Act of 1956 is still in such in force. That has been included in the Consumer Protection Act, so that the consumers have been protected from all types of rights. Then the Foreign Exchange Management Act of 1999. Earlier we had a FERA, what we call it as Regulation Act. The Regulation Act was amended and made as Management Act in 1999. The Information Technology Act of 2000 was being passed. These are the other business laws which has been passed in India. There are many such laws which has been still in force, but this is what we have been mainly focused on and is still being in practice. Then problems with business law. What are the problems do we have? Gaps between principles and practice. There is a lot of law. Practice is very difficult because nobody knows how to practice. There are many such principles, but practice is different. Enactment and enforcement. There are a lot of laws have been enacted. Enforcement is minimum. Enforcement is very less. Then roadblocks in industrial progress. There are many such roadblocks. Nobody uses the land, nobody uses the roadways. Then definitely there are roadblocks. The industrial progress becomes very difficult. Short and swift road to justice. You don't get that easy, you cannot get justice. Loopholes in the laws. People take advantage of these loopholes in the laws. That is a problem what everybody faces in our country because there is problems in business laws. Then, what are the problems what we have? Obeyed voluntarily, must be just and reasonable, must be flexible, must be knowledgeable, knowable. So how do you rectify this? Everybody should obey voluntarily. Any law be made by the government, it should be obeyed voluntarily. It should not be forced. Must be just and reasonable. What are the law you're going to do? It should be reasonable. You cannot have a forcible law. And what are the law you're going to do? It should be flexible. There should not be any problem. It should be flexible. And must be knowable. Everybody should know what law is being passed. And then this is what we discussed in today's class. Problems of business law. Problems with business law. Over the business law in India. Problems with the business law. So how do you overcome these problems? This is how do we going to overcome this? Any law you make should be obeyed voluntarily. People should voluntarily come forward and obey the laws. Must be just and reasonable. Must be flexible. Must be knowable. That's how you're going to do. The law can be made and implemented. And this is what we discussed. This is all about the first chapter. Okay then. Thank you for viewing.